Hello, and welcome to the 2024 CAPS Visual Communications LLC New Hire or Newly Eligible Benefits presentation. During this video presentation, we will review the 2024-2025 benefits package and enrollment next steps. Qualified event. A qualified event is something like having a baby, getting married or divorced, or experiencing a death. If you experience a qualifying event, you have 30 days to let HR know so you can make changes to your plan. This is true for every year. So other than open enrollment, you can't make any changes to your plan unless you experience a qualifying event. Or benefits package. We have a new medical carrier this year. This year, we will have 3 medical plans through Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. The first plan we're going to talk about is a copay plan, kind of a more traditional style plan. For day-to-day services, you will have copays of $20, $40 if you're in the Tier 1 choice, Blue Choice Options network. And then you will also have various copays for things like inpatient hospital admission and lab and x-ray. For higher ticket items like MRIs or having a procedure, you may have a deductible charge. In this case, for Tier 1, you have a deductible of $250 for a single. When you see out-of-pocket maximum, you want to think of that as your worst case scenario. So in Tier 1 here, my worst case scenario, if I stay in Tier 1, would be $750. The plan pays at 90% after the deductible. And there are various copays for your prescriptions. Remember that in the Chicagoland area, you'll want to visit Walgreens and Walmart. Will have some deeper savings opposed to CVS. If your doctor is not in Tier 1, then they will be in the default large network Tier 2 large PPO network. Again, there are copays for your day-to-day services. You'll notice they're a little bit higher, of $40 for a regular doctor and $80 for a specialist. The deductible is also a little bit higher than in Tier 1. If you see a Tier 2 provider, your deductible will be $1,000, and the out-of-pocket, which is your worst-case scenario, will be $1,250. Remember that includes the deductible. Again, there are various copays for things like hospital admission, emergency room, lab and x-ray, things like that. And again, you have your prescription savings. Prescription drug card. And if your doctor is out of network, remember that it is deductible first, and then the plan pays at only 50% with a worst case scenario of $2,500. But in the Chicagoland area, a lot of great providers signed up to be in Tier 1. Northwestern, Rush, North Shore, Edwards and Naperville. There's a lot of great providers that signed up to be in Tier 1. So when you go online, you want to look at the Blue Choice Options Network, and it'll indicate there if it's a Tier 1 provider or not. Also, for the name, the plan name here at the top, you'll see is the MIBCO 2080 plan. So throughout this presentation, we may refer to this as the 2080 plan. The second plan we're going to talk about is a high deductible health plan, also referred to as an HSA plan. This plan has an aggregate deductible. It works a little bit differently than what you may be used to. For any family coverage, the whole family would need to meet their deductible before benefits would pay out at 100%. HSA plans are unique in that there are no copays. There are no copays for office visits or hospital or emergency room. Everything funnels to your deductible. In this case, it's a $2,500 single deductible and a $5,000 deductible for anything if you were to have any dependents on the plan. Remember that this is an aggregate deductible, also considered non-embedded, which means if you have any dependents on the plan, everyone would have to contribute to that $5,000 deductible before benefits would pay out at 100%. If you were to go out of network, the coverage pays at 80%. You'll see that the deductible and the out-of-pocket is also still the same. Coverage will just pay at 80% after the deductible until you meet your annual out-of-pocket maximum. And this includes prescriptions. This is when programs like GoodRx, I'm sorry, not GoodRx, but this is when you want to pay attention to the cost of your prescriptions, because you'll actually be paying towards that full cost of that prescription until you meet your out-of-pocket maximum. The third plan we're going to talk about is also a high deductible plan, also referred to as an HSA plan. This is also on Blue Cross Blue Shield's largest PPO network. You'll notice the plan name at the top here, the MIEEE 2052. This HSA plan works just like the other plan in that all office visits, hospital rooms, lab x-ray, and even prescription drugs will all funnel through, in this case, your $4,000 deductible. After you meet your $4,000 deductible, that is it. In network, you are done. Benefits will pay out for 100% at 100% for the rest of the calendar year. This plan has an embedded deductible, meaning each person in the family would have their own $4,000 deductible to meet. This is different than the prior plan. This plan is also comes with an HRA, which is a health reimbursement arrangement. We'll talk about that on the next few pages. Remember that with this plan, there are no copays. Everything funnels to that $4,000 deductible, and that includes prescriptions, but not preventative care. If you go to an in-network provider, you do not need to pay a copay or deductible or anything towards that visit. So let's talk more about the MIEEE 2052 high deductible embedded plan. It's comprised of two components. It is a high deductible health plan. Also, with that, you can have a health savings account. And in this case, there is a health reimbursement arrangement. The high deductible PPO plan that provides healthcare benefits after the deductible is met. Remember that that includes pharmacy services. The health reimbursement arrangement is an employer-funded account that is designed to reimburse employees for qualified medical expenses. Your employer sets up the HRA, determines the amount of money available in each employer's HRA for that coverage period, and establishes the types of expenses for which types they can be used. Example, like just deductibles or deductibles and copays. HRA funds can pay for covered health care expenses and may be used to pay for deductible expenses as well. Before we go any further, I want to make sure that we understand the difference between the two HSA plans. So let's look at the difference between an embedded deductible and a non-embedded deductible. The MIEEA 2020 HSA plan, also called the $2,500 HSA plan, this is a non-embedded deductible. So for example, if you have dependents on this plan, then everyone will contribute to that $5,000 deductible. When you're considering the other plan, the MIEEE 2052 HSA with an HRA plan, this is the $4,000 plan. This is an embedded deductible. Each family member has an individual deductible. So you would want to consider that as almost having separate kitties. This works differently than aggregate. Embedded is probably what you are more used to and have seen. And also that copay plan also offered is also an embedded deductible. That aggregate deductible, remember the overall family deductible must be met by either an individual or by the entire family before coverage pays at 100%. There are some advantages to having an HSA. You control your healthcare spending and you choose when you want to spend your HSA dollars and when to save them. You can invest those saved dollars. There's tax savings that goes into an HSA plan. Premiums are typically less with an HSA plan, and funds do roll over from year to year without a maximum. And there is no maximum as to how much you can save and accumulate over time. To qualify for an HSA, you must meet the following criteria. You must be covered by a qualifying high deductible health plan. Your high deductible health plan is your only health insurance coverage, meaning you don't have supplemental coverage from a spouse or other family member. You don't have or use a general purpose FSA, which is a flex spending account. No one else claims you as a dependent on their tax return. And you must be 18 or older and not enrolled in Medicare, Part A or B, or Medicaid. Some advantages of an HSA is that you get to use your HSA for qualified expenses. The IRS has a list of what these qualified expenses are. Link is here. But you can use those things for things like fertility treatments, dental expenses, vision expenses, and other things that may not necessarily be covered under your medical plan. Talk about that health reimbursement arrangement. Remember that the health reimbursement arrangement is only available with the MIEEE 2052 plan. The HRA funds can be used to pay for healthcare expenses and may also be used to pay for deductible expenses. The deductible for this plan is a $4,000 deductible. If you are a single, you are responsible for the full $4,000 of that deductible. However, the HRA will reimburse the employee for the last $1,000 of that deductible. So really, it'll feel like a $3,000 deductible at the end. If you have any dependents, there is an $8,000 deductible. The HRA will reimburse the employee for the last $2,000 of that deductible. So really your family deductible will feel like a $6,000 deductible. A snapshot of your bi-weekly insurance premiums for 2024-2025. These plans are also listed in your benefit summary and on your election form. Now let's change gears and talk about your Delta Dental your Delta dental plan. The Delta dental plan has two in-network networks. You can see either the PPO dentist or Delta Premier Dentist. You will get the most savings with regular PPO Delta dentists. The Delta Premier plan also has dentists available, but if you see a Premier Dentist, they cannot balance bill you like they do if you were to go out of network. But you'll see the steepest savings under the PPO network. This plan has a $75 deductible and is an enhanced plan in that it has a $2,000 annual maximum. So every year the plan sets over with a new $2,000 per person in your family. Preventative services are always covered at 100%. Basic services like fillings are covered at 80%. Major services like crowns would be covered at 50%. And there is orthodontia coverage for children and dependents under age 19. It is a one-time lifetime maximum of $2,000. Are those bi-weekly rates for your dental plan? Also found in the benefit summary and election form. Your vision plan with VSP has a $10 copay for routine eye exams. You're eligible for an eye exam every year. Lenses have a $25 copay for various types of lenses. Your frame allowance is $150 with a 20% discount off of that, except for at warehouse discount places like Costco or Sam's. There's also a contact lens allowance of $150, and there are varying copays depending on the type of lenses you choose. Remember that when you go out of network, you're going to have to file your own claim, and you will only get a small reimbursement check back. You will get most bang for your buck if you were to stay in network. VSP has a great mobile app you could use, and you can visit VSP to look up in-network vision providers. Here is a snapshot of your bi-weekly vision rates. There are two important provisions to consider before signing up for benefits with CAPS Visiual. Please note that there is an employed spouse provision, meaning if your spouse has coverage available through his or her employer, then they may not be eligible for coverage under the CAPS plan. As an employee of CAPS Visiual, if you are covering your spouse or legal civil union partner, you must indicate and attest to that spouse doesn't have other coverage available to them. There is also an opt-out provision. As an employee of CAPS Visiual, if you would like to opt out of the medical benefit plan and obtain alternative coverage, you will receive a $1,000 cash bonus for doing so. Evidence of other coverage must be provided each year during open enrollment to qualify. The cash bonus would be paid over normal payroll periods for the first quarter of 2025. Should you later have a qualifying event and need to enroll in the medical benefits, the bonus would be repaid back to CAPS Visiual through payroll deductions over a 3-month period. The life insurance offered at CAPS Visiual will pay out at 1 times your salary to a maximum of $50,000 per employee. If you were to pass away in an accident, the policy would pay a secondary $50,000. If you are 70 or older, the life insurance benefit will reduce by the percentage of 65%, and again by 35% at the age of 70 and 75. Be sure to use this opportunity to update your beneficiary information. You do not need to update your wait until open enrollment to update your beneficiary information. It's just a good time to remember to do so. But you can do so as often as needed. So just please make sure that your information is always updated with the HR office. Term disability available with Cigna. The short-term disability would kick in after an 8-day waiting period. It will pay out 60% of your base earnings, weekly earnings, to a maximum of $2,000 per week. This can last for up to 26 weeks. Long-term disability coverage is 100% paid for by your employer. This coverage kicks in after your short-term disability expires. This will pay 60% of your monthly earnings to a maximum of $10,000 per month. This can potentially last up to Social Security normal retirement age, depending on your condition. Remember that this benefit is paid for 100% by your employer. CAPS Visiual will continue to offer an FSA through TASK. We will continue to offer a regular healthcare FSA, of which you may contribute up to $3,200. The limits for 2025 have not yet been released. And then we also offer a dependent care FSA. This is for daycare or whatever. You may contribute up to $5,000 per year to your dependent care FSA. Remember that FSA has a use it or lose it provision, so you may want to be conservative when electing how much you contribute. You are also eligible to roll over up to $550 to the next year on that FSA. Lastly, CAPS Visiual will also continue to offer commuter benefits, identity theft, and legal insurance. So what are the next steps for enrollment? Please review the benefit summary and ask questions. We want you to be happy with the plan that you choose. Complete an enrollment form and return it to Lisa Boland by the due date given. Lisa's contact information is here. Thank you for your time today and have a great day.